Okay, welcome to the Man on Second podcast here. I am Joe Frisaro, and today we have an exciting day because I'm kind of unveiling my top 10 players in South Florida in classes 5A through 7A. It's part of a series I did for SB Live. I do my freelance work for high school on SI or SB Live. That's Sports Illustrated's high school division. And I encourage everyone, I have my top 50 rankings that are posted there, but for today's podcast, I'm going to do the top 10, and I encourage everybody to go and get the rest of the list on SB Live. So without further ado, let's get going here. Let's start off with number 10. Oh, before I get into the actual naming of them, just kind of give a little briefing on what I was looking at. I've seen a ton of high school baseball, all these players, and my criteria, it's going to be a little bit different than maybe some other rankings because I'm combining production, the stats, but also projectability, a lot of factors. It's not just looking at who had the top 10 batting average, let's say, or home runs, and then taking it that way, as well as feedback along the way on these players. This is based on this season, obviously the 2025 high school baseball season. But like I said, please check out the top 50. But again, for this podcast, we're just going to do the top 10. And I'll start off number 10 from Stoneman Douglas High School outfielder Bennett Gary. Bennett's one of those guys. I mean, the beauty of this top 10 is a lot of these are interchangeable. Basically, you can flip 5 with 10, 10 with 5. But for the ranking purposes, Bennett's coming in at 10. University of Miami commit, left-handed hitting outfielder, hit .369 for the Eagles this year with 37 runs scored and 5 home runs. What I like about Bennett, Bennett's just kind of a definition of a baseball player. He's a proven winner on a program that's won 5 straight state titles, so he knows how to win. Kind of moved in from a supporting role last year as an underclassman on a very veteran Stoneman Douglas team. Bennett, this year hitting at the top of the lineup, and he did what the table setter is asked to do: get on base, work counts. We saw that phase, run the bases, bunt his way on from time to time. We've seen that, but the 37 runs scored kind of tells you the story that Bennett knows how to, get, on base and score runs. The 5 home runs show that there's power potential in there. Again, University of Miami commit. We look forward to following Bennett's career as he leaves the high school ranks and moves on there. Let's go to number 9. We got Brady Bucksbaum, first baseman from St. Thomas Aquinas. Really impressed. Brady's one of those guys, the more you see him, the more you like him. Class of 26, University of South Florida commit. Keep in mind, St. Thomas, 6A state champs. They really, were quite the impressive offense. One of the best offenses, if not statistically, probably the best offense, 1 through 9 in the country. Scored a lot of runs. Obviously, they play in a ballpark a little smaller than some others, so the numbers may be slightly inflated, but they went to a big league ballpark in Fort Myers and put up 15 runs against a team in the semifinals. So, and then scored 8 against a Gainesville Buchholz team in the championship game. So their offense played in any ballpark, but Brady was right in the thick of it, hitting cleanup. 42 RBIs, 9 home runs, big hits in the state playoffs, had a big double, I think, in the championship game, came up big in the semifinals as well. So, again, congratulations to Brady Bucksbaum. We look forward to seeing Brady as he moves along. Let's go to number 8. Right back to Stoneman Douglas, the 7A state champs. Nick Diaz, outfielder Nick Diaz. Nick's one of those guys, again, he could have been as high up as 2. He's coming in at 8. Nick hit .368 for the Eagles with 6 doubles, a triple, 4 home runs, 21 RBIs, College of Charleston commit. Nick's one of those guys, to me, is where talent rises Didn't, get off to the fastest start this year. Sometimes that happens. A guy who had, was a junior last year. He actually had the game-winning hit in extra innings for Stoneman Douglas in their state championship win over Windermere in the title game. So, he had that experience. He had a home run last year in the state semifinals. A lot expected of him. Got off to a little bit of a slow start. I was never really concerned because talent rises. And Nick Diaz, certainly, as the season heated up, he kept getting better and better. I think Douglas had him a Statcast 107 miles an hour on one of his hits this year. Might have been a homer, I don't know. But we know he can impact the baseball. We know there's at least one major league team that's showing interest in him. We shall see how that shapes up. But right now at number 8, we got Nick Diaz. And again, a really good-looking player and a really bright future. Outfielder, probably can play some first base. I think he's played a little third base, so that's going to be interesting to see, how Nick progresses as well. Let's move on to the number 7 ranked player on our list. We got Mario Magana, infielder from Columbus High School, University of Miami commit, class of 25. So Mario is moving on to the next level after capping a terrific season at Columbus. Hit .368, 28 stolen bases, 42 hits, a lot of plate appearances. He had over 130 plate appearances, 26 RBIs, 11 doubles, a home run. Mario's an interesting guy for the fact that the hit tool is there. I think he's a left-handed hitter. But the positional, where's he going to end up? He's listed as a shortstop, as third base. I saw him play at third. Some think he's destined for the outfield. What we do know about Mario is he can run. He has great bat-to-ball skills. Just kind of one of those players that, the pros are looking at as well. So we shall see if he's a draftable guy. But the speed certainly plays. We'll see if there's more power in there. But again, positionally, where will Mario Magana play? The season .368. I think some people thought he could be over 400 hitter. It's really hard, sometimes to live up to expectations to that super high end year. But the talent is certainly there, and we look forward to seeing what's next for Mario Magana. Let's go to number 6 right now on the list. We got J.C. Martinez, outfielder from Taravella, North Florida commit, but I'm not sure he's going to end up there. I still think he has a really good chance of being one of our players here who will be drafted in one of the rounds. But terrific senior season at Taravella, .438 batting average in 7A. Keep in mind, that's a district. They're in a district with Stoneman Douglas, with Western. That's a tough district with some really good teams. And the regional, they got West Broward. It's a really competitive conference and district, and the pitching he has seen has been top flight. And this guy hit .438 with 10 doubles, 5 homers, 28 runs scored. And this is a guy who was hitting at the top of the order in a lineup. There was a coaching change, this year, and some players left, and JC stayed, and he had a terrific final season. Showed a lot of leadership. Can play all 3 outfield positions. Like I said, he leads off. He has a little bit of that clutch factor. We know that I've bumped into area scouts. I've seen him play a lot, and there's a lot of J.C. Martinez fans out there. So we shall see if J.C. is one of the guys who ends up getting drafted as well. Let's take it now to the number 5 ranked player on the list, and that's Jose Correa, outfielder from Columbus. A lot of times, you can tell if a player is good by how the competitors talk about you. And I've talked to players at other teams that have competed against Jose Correa, felt he was just a very difficult out, one of the toughest outs that they, kind of went up against in their entire season. A performer at Columbus, College of Central Florida, not to be confused with the University of Central Valley, College of Central Florida commit, hit .439 for the Explorers with 12 extra base hits, 3 home runs. Again, a big sample size, 119 plate appearances, 36 hits, 28 runs scored. Terrific player. Jose Correa comes in number 5. We're getting now to the nitty-gritty, into the top 5, where these next 4 that I'm going to mention all are amazingly good players, all have a really good chance of ending up, being drafted either this year or next year. Little hint among who is on the list. I will say 3 seniors were on this list, 1 junior. But at number 4, shortstop Danny Machado from Archbishop McCarthy. Danny, amazing year. His senior year, he's a kid who just keeps getting better and better switch hitter. To me, he's the whole package: offense, defense, can run the bases, led off, leadership. He just checks all the boxes. Archbishop McCarthy went through a coaching change as well, and there's some seniors with some young players at McCarthy. Machado was asked to take on a big role, and he did. Performer, 442 batting average. This guy, again, Florida Atlanta commit. But again, I had some area scouts asking me about him as well, getting my opinion on him. He's one of those guys. You never know. The draft is going to be quite fascinating. The college portal. I think there's like 6,000 kids in the in the portal right now. So some of these commits right now, if the pro ball comes, I wouldn't be shocked if some of these players who had been anticipating going college may wind up finding themselves in a pro camp sometime around August after they sign. Now we go to 3 and 2. To me, the 3 and 2 are really 2A and 2B. I had to pick one goes 3, one goes 2. Going 3 in this exercise is Zach Malvasio, outfielder from St. Thomas Aquinas, just one of the great players in the area. And boy, did he raise his stock all year on the 6A champion St. Thomas Aquinas Raiders, University of Central Florida commit. Zach was, he again, much like Danny Machado, leadership, just kind of inherited and accepted, being, more asked of him. Hit third again in arguably the best lineup in the country. All he did was hit .411 with 16 home runs. I think 13 in the regular season, 3 in the regionals and playoffs. Zach, arm strength. I've seen him rob a home run, making a great catch. I've seen him come in and pitch as a closer, throwing in the low 90s, I believe, with a fastball. Just a really good baseball player. The hit tool, the power. You can't really teach guys to hit the ball 400 plus feet. Zach Malvasio is capable of doing that, and Zach finds himself in the number 3 spot on the list. As we're winding it down to the top. And now the fun begins. We are into the top 2. The number 2 player on the list, we have Gabriel Gabo Milano, third baseman for Doral Academy. Again, just a remarkable player with a great career at Doral Academy. Lefty bat, plays third base, hit .520. You talk about projectable, .520. University of Miami commit, 13 doubles, 11 homers, 42 RBIs. And Doral, they're another team that plays in a ballpark that is clearly hitter friendly, but still you have to hit. And Gabo hits anywhere. And we've seen great things from him through the years. Again, that kind of production, 42 RBIs, 11 homers, 13 doubles, comes up clutch, leadership. Another guy who, kind of a middle-of-the-order bat, maybe not hitting at the top of the order, probably because these coaches, they want to see their best player get as many at-bats as possible. And Gabo Milano has done that. Another guy, much like Zach Malvasio, Danny Machado, how much interest are the pros going to have in Gabo? Will he be, someone selected? I wouldn't be surprised if he is. Just keep this in mind. I was talking to scouts early in the year about him. They thought he had a little bit of, was selling out a little bit for power, and he was kind of the launch angle guy, with his swing being a little bit more lift, and which created a hole in the swing, especially the elevated pitches. And Gabo's made the adjustment to that. I think the scouts, if they watch film on him, especially later in the year, they'll see how he's handled the high pitch and how his swing, just a little tinkering, didn't need to do much. And, the .520 batting average speaks for itself for Gabriel Gabo Milano. And another guy, again, we're going to really, wait and see what happens these next couple of months with the draft. It's going to be fascinating whether Gabo ends up at the University of Miami or ends up having his name announced during the MLB draft, which I believe is the All-Star break. They do it 3 days, so we shall see. And I will say this, we're going to get the drum roll, please, for the number 1 player on the Man on Second list. And this, again, reminder, go to High School on SI, Scorebook Live to get the full 50. But for today, we're just doing the top 10. And without any further ado, the number 1 player, ranked player, in classes 5A through 7A here in South Florida. It's kind of a no-brainer. It is Gio Rojas, left-handed pitcher / designated hitter at Stoneman Douglas. And, when I'm talking about draft for the seniors, if this was next year at this time and all things kind of remain the same, we will be talking about Gio Rojas as a potential first-round pick. And then the question is how high in the first round. But we do know this. In his junior season with the Eagles, 7A state champion Eagles, 12-0, 0.72 ERA, 120 strikeouts and 68 innings pitched. In the state semifinal game, he drew Alonzo. There's always that question, you want to save your ace for the championship game or the semifinals? And with Gio pitches kind of windy, and Coach Joe Frisaro decided to go with his best in the state semis, and which made everyone else available for the championship game as it worked out because Gio did his thing. 16 strikeouts in a, I think it was a 5-0 shutout complete game against Alonzo out of Tampa. Throws a one-hitter. I think he had a no-hitter going into the 5th inning. So complete dominance. And I think his fastball is up to 97 miles an hour. It was at 94, 95. Slider is plus, got a changeup, can locate pitches, can, throw his off speed for strikes. So he is the toughest out, toughest pitcher to kind of catch up to. It was to the point against Alonzo. Keep in mind, this is a team in the state Final Four in 7A, a the largest classification. Their players were going up to bat hoping not to strike out. They were basically, a kid bat flipped a walk. I think his coach pulled him as a pinch runner and yelled at him for kind of disrespecting, even though he did it kind of playfully. But that's how Gio could kind of demoralize another team. Alonzo High School, for fans of the Miami Marlins, will remember that Jose Fernandez attended, the late, great Jose Fernandez attended Alonzo High School. That's the team that Gio Rojas through the shutout against in the state semifinals. And I did have the pleasure when I was covering the Marlins to cover Jose Fernandez, and that kid, pitched with so much flair, flavor, had so much fun on the mound. Gio Rojas has that same amount of, just youthful energy, just, smiling on the mound, just having a good time. Just a terrific talent, and obviously just Gio, stay humble, and I know you will, but stay humble because the accolades are going to keep coming. They're coming fast. And as a designated hitter, he hit 375, hits in the middle of the order. I think he had a big hit in the title game as well, and a big at-bat as Stoneman Douglas won another state title, his state record. Let's get that in there as well. State record, 5th straight state title. So that's it. That's my top 10 for this podcast. That's where we're going to stop it. Again, remind, please, if you're, check out that list on Scorebook Live, which is High School on SI. But if you do a Google search of SB Live or Scorebook Live or High School on SI, Sports Illustrated, you will see the story there as well. It's on my link on my @Joe Frisaro Twitter. There's a link to the story there. It's already getting a lot of response. Wish I could name all 50, but I don't want to bore everyone to death with 50. And again, next week I'm going to be doing the classes 1A through 4A. So if your favorite players at those schools, that's why they're not on this list, and many of them will be on the next one. So again, it was a fun season. The 5 through 7As, just terrific players, and again, it was a privilege covering all these kids and seeing tracking their careers. And I look forward to, if they're back doing it again next year in high school, and I certainly will be watching them in college or beyond as well and updating you on that. But with that, that's Joe Frisaro here on the Man on Second podcast with part of our Best in South Florida series, and this one was the top 10 hitters in South Florida, classes 5A to 7A. Hope everyone enjoyed it. Check out all the content. Please like and subscribe to the channel. We're growing, more than 8.5 million lifetime views, more than 6 million views in already this year. And it's just been a fun ride, providing a lot of exposure for these players. But again, thanks to everyone for tuning in, and we'll catch everyone in the next video.